While foreign workers in the US are evidently bracing up for tougher visa norms in 2018, it looks like things are likely to get better for foreign students in the UK. This will certainly be welcome news for Indian students in the UK. They will now be able to apply for the Tier 2 visa or the skilled worker visa as soon as they complete their course. That's right, from January 11 next year, the UK will introduce a new set of immigration regulations, which includes granting work visas to international students with more flexibility. As of now, the current rules allow students to apply for the work visa only after they have obtained a degree. This gives the students who hold the Tier 4 visa or the study visa only a smaller portion of time frame to find a job while still in the UK. Students holding Tier 4 student visas can stay in the UK for a total of 16 months. Usually by the time the students receive their degrees, their student visas expire. With the new rule in place, students can apply for skilled worker visa immediately after finishing their study course, saving months of precious time. The decision has come after discussions between the government and various universities in the UK. The UK is all set to introduce those new immigration policies next year. That's, of course, a reason to cheer for Indian students in the UK. Let's take a closer look at what those regulations really mean for international students in the UK. Joining us on the broadcast this evening from London is Karanveer Singh. He is an overseas education consultant. Karanveer, good evening. Appreciate your speaking with us here on WION on your story. Your initial reaction, this of course comes after months of deliberation and multiple demands that have been made by the students, by also the Indian government.
First of all, good evening. Yes, it's actually a very delightful news that now it will be very easy for all the students out there in the UK. They've got a great opportunity to get the visas and finally have a settlement, and actually they can work there. Because I remember since past 3 to 4 years, it was a very blunder situation for all the students. After investing like a lot of money, they did not really have an option. All they had to do was just come back to the country. And because it was like really tough to get the visa within just like 2 to 3 months. But with this new rule that has just been in place, now the students will have at least 4 to 5 months, or let's say like half a year, to actually apply for the visas, and they can actually go ahead and plan their settlements out there as well.
Karanveer, what according to you will still be the sticking points for international students in the UK?
Well, the major points are keeping one thing in consideration. Whenever any international student goes to any other country, all right, the first thing they have in their mind is to work there, the permission to work there, and the permission whether they can settle down over there. But what happened in the UK in the past few years was they did not have the permission. But because of this particular rule now, all the students will have that kind of opportunity. Basically, that way they can sit down there, apply for the visas and get any kind of work. The only thing that they now need to actually worry about is just complete their studies. That's all.
All right, Karanveer, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Appreciate you joining us with all of those perspectives. Certainly some good news coming in for international students in the UK, though some sticking points and key issues still remain. It's a huge breath of fresh air and a huge relief for multiple students across the United Kingdom. Let's now turn our attention to another news that we are getting you. If you're planning a visit to Dubai for the all great shopping, buggy rides on sand dunes and skydiving, think again, because you can still do all those things, but they're going to cost you more than you budgeted for. Here's a closer look.
The UAE is taking the VAT plunge, which basically means a hike of anywhere between 5 to 7% on a trip to the Emirates starting 2018. That's right, the new VAT regime kicks in January 1st, 2018, and Indians are going to be affected. The Emirates, especially Dubai, is a holiday hotspot for Indians. In 2016, more than 1 million Indians travelled to Dubai. That was more than a third of the country's total international travellers that year. In fact, Mumbai-Dubai and Delhi-Dubai were the two busiest international routes in and out of India in 2016. With VAT in play, things are going to get more expensive. The 5% VAT will be levied on many goods and services, including hotels, sightseeing tours, and when you hire cabs too. Compliance will mean an additional 1 or 2% charge being passed on to the end user. Basically, a visit to the Emirates could cost up to 7% more. What's more, the charge will be applicable for all existing bookings as well. The 5% VAT will apply to all services provided in the UAE starting January 1st. Amended invoices are in the process of being drawn up and sent out. The UAE is looking to diversify its revenue models. Oil prices are on the decline and traditional oil-based economies like the UAE's are facing the crunch. Bureau Report, WION.
Let's get in some more perspectives. Joining us on the broadcast is Subhash Goyal, the chairman of the STIC Travel Group of Companies. Good evening. Mr. Goyal, let me begin by asking you, how are you as a travel agent or a travel agency going to minimize the impact of the enhanced cost for the end users, since that will be the immediate challenge that arises for you?
See, as it is, GST has made things a little more expensive. Now the only way to minimize this impact is that if there is a 10-day tour, we'll reduce it to make it 8 days or 9 days, so that the cost comes down. Basically, and if it is a 5-star hotel, we'll have to make it into a 4-star hotel. Because ultimately, there are 3 categories of people who go to Dubai. One is the super rich who use Burj Al Arab, or for them it will not make much difference. They don't mind paying a little more extra. But for the middle income group who are using 4-star hotels, it will make a lot of difference. And for the 3 stars, they will cut down their visit by 1 or 2 days, because one has to remain within the budget.
All right, how, to what extent do you see this move actually impacting outbound travel to Dubai?
See, as far as the top very high-end luxury people are concerned, it will not have any effect. But as far as the middle income and the lower income people are concerned, it will definitely bring down the number of travelers by at least 10%, if not more. And whoever have already planned to visit Dubai, if they are 11-day visit, they'll make it a 9-day visit. They'll cut down the number of days so that it remains within their budget.
And there are
this will definitely have an impact on outbound travel from India to Dubai.
And there are certainly issues that still remain and add up to magnifying the ones that already exist. So in terms of those issues that already exist, and in terms of in the longer run.
You see, there are a lot of issues. One is, when we are sending groups abroad, these services are being provided out of this country. So GST should not be applicable on those tours. That is one thing. And secondly, if countries like Dubai, which are dependent on tourism, if they start imposing these surcharges and taxes in the form of surcharges, then it will definitely impact. Perhaps they have forgotten that when there was a crisis in UAE and people were leaving the cars at the airport and running away, it was the Indian tourist that was able to revive the economy of Dubai and UAE. So I think they should not be complacent about it, and they should reconsider this.
Erie in Pennsylvania received a record snowfall after it was hit with 53 inches of snow in just a matter of 30 hours. Residents of Erie spent the day after Christmas shoveling their way out of snowfall after backyards were completely covered by snow. Videos show cars buried and dogs running in the snow. Local authorities have declared a state of emergency in the state. Meanwhile, in New York, forecasters are calling up to 60 centimeters of additional snow for areas east of Lake Ontario. that have already received as much as 81 centimeters of snow over the long Christmas weekend. Temperatures are set to dip across New York this week, with forecasters calling for overnight lows to dip below zero in the northeastern section of the state. Meanwhile, snowstorms hit northern Japan as well, turning the entire region white and disrupting traffic. Vehicles have been affected and all flights have been grounded, causing chaos for people traveling during Christmas. The local Met Agency has warned of further snowfall, avalanches, high waves and disruptions to traffic in the region. The streets of Cali in Colombia witnessed a mega performance when over 1,500 dancers grooved to the beats of salsa. This was an annual dance festival organized in Cali starting from Christmas, which sees young and old dancers from various training institutes participating in over a 1.5-kilometer long parade. On the second day of the mega dance festival, over 200,000 people gathered to see the performances. Moving on, several girls in Tunisia are battling against gender discrimination. Girls are now rebelling against the uniform policy, which is meant only for them, but not for the boys. Here's a detailed report.
With a light scarf and a windbreaker over blue jeans, Siwar considers her school ensemble complete. But according to official Tunisian regulations, she's still missing her blouse, required of all schoolgirls. Siwar and her friends at Bizert Public School refuse to wear it.
The blouse itself is not the problem. The problems that we try to criticize are the reasons why the blouse is worn only by girls. If the blouse was imposed on everyone, there would be no criticism.
Authorities say the blouse aims to erase social inequalities between students, and refusing to wear it may result in a student's expulsion. But these girls find the rule hypocritical, especially since the 2014 Constitution stipulates equality between men and women.
It conveys a terrible message. For me, it's really a message that says women's bodies are at the service of men. And so girls must stay covered so that boys will remain calm, so that they're not distracted by these young girls' bodies.
Tunisia is considered a pioneer in the region for women's rights, and the government officially endorses gender equality. But parts of society remain conservative, and the authorities say they want to be inclusive as the country changes.
There is a movement. Tunisian society is changing, and the mindset of students is changing too. We must accept it and try to manage it. The Ministry of Education should not be the only one supervising this. It is necessary to involve all the stakeholders in this debate so that the issues are collective and that the solutions can satisfy everyone.
Tunisia experienced a political revolution in 2011, ending 23 years of dictatorship. For Siwar and her friends, their personal fashion revolution is only just beginning.
Mount Sinabung in Indonesia erupted today. Eyewitnesses said the volcano was spewing smoke and ash up to 4 kilometers into the sky. No casualties have been reported yet, but authorities continue to remain on high alert. Mount Sinabung erupted last in May 2016, killing at least 7 people and injuring two others. The country's National Disaster Mitigation Agency has urged residents to stay alert and away from the volcano. This was when a prince interviewed a former president. In an interview aired on BBC's Channel 4, Prince Harry spoke to former US President Barack Obama. Obama warned against social media being used as a medium that divides the society. Listen in to what he said.
Social media, the social media landscape has changed dramatically.
It has.
Since then. Issues of trolling, extremism, fake news and cyberbullying are major social issues.
Right.
Is there more that you could have done as president to get ahead of some of these issues?
The question, I think, really has to do with how do we harness this technology in a way that allows a multiplicity of voices, allows a diversity of views, but doesn't lead to a balkanization of our society, but rather continues to promote ways of finding common ground. Mm-hmm. And all of us in leadership have to find ways in which we can recreate a common space on the internet. Mm-hmm. One of the dangers of the internet is that people can have entirely different realities. They can be just cocooned in information that reinforces their current biases. The truth is that on the internet, everything is simplified. And when you meet people face to face, it turns out they're complicated.